So yeah, this is a really cool tree. I just love it. Every time I pull out a tree to work on it, I just have to look it over really good. Um, Kind of because I need to do that to know what I want to do to it, but also because I just love my trees. So thankful that I get to have them and take care of them, and feel like I've been blessed by God to be able to do this. So I just admire them every time I pull them out. But welcome to another episode of Bonsai Forever. All right, you guys. So today I have a Japanese maple. My glasses on here. I've been working all day already, so it's Acer. It's ACER, Acer Palmatum Shish. Yeah, I'm gonna let you guys read that one. I don't know. That really messes with my dyslexia. So that's the type of tree this is. Really cool tree. I really like this tree. I got it at a garden center. Somewhere. I can't remember which garden center I got it at. I go to garden centers all over the country, so picked this one up. It was just about like this. It hasn't grown much bigger, hasn't put on very many more branches. Just kind of had it in a nursery pot the first year, and then last year, springtime, I put it in this pot. I don't know if I showed that on my channel. I don't know if I did. I kind of don't think I did. I was kind of serious about my channel then, but I'm a lot more serious about my channel now. So I'm going to try and be putting all of my trees on here. All of my trees. I'm not doing trees that I'm going to be selling. Sometimes I'll give you some of that stuff, but typically I'm not putting that stuff out. And that's what I did all day. I think I potted up, was it eight little junipers. So they're looking really good. They're going to be pretty awesome. They'll be for sale. I don't have a website yet. I'm working on that, or working on affording that. Having enough trees that are ready to be sold. I have so many trees. I know that I have over 500 trees now, but I don't have enough trees that are ready for sale to open up my website yet. But I sell them at the market here in town at I can't remember what the park's name is, but it's St. Andrews Marina, over on Beck Avenue if you're in Panama City area. But I sell my trees there. I am going to be working on getting a website. I've been talking to somebody about that. It's not going to be too expensive. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm just not quite there yet. So working on it. But anyway, back to the tree. This is the Japanese maple. And I'm going to air layer this because I really like this part of the tree. It's really starting to take some shape, and this part of the tree is really starting to take some shape. Let's see if you're in there. Let's see, my hands up here. Nope. There we go. Now we can see the whole tree. So up here looks really good. Down here looks really good. Straight trunk. It's kind of got a really interesting bend here, but that's going to be the top of this tree. I'm gonna cut it off right here and make this a tree, and I'm gonna make that a tree. So that being said, these buds right here got to go. Oh, let me show you this. It's really starting to bud out really nicely. Each branch, if it's going to show the branch instead of my tools, that'd be nice, right? So yeah, it's really starting to bud out. There's buds like right here and here, here. This tree is looking really nice. I'm gonna take care of this double branch section right here this year. It's got some stuff here. The top is really starting to bud out. So that's why I'm doing this work now, because I want to get this work, or the tree air layering while it's really pushing out some growth, so that it's got a lot of movement, water movement. So that's what really pushes out the roots to get the air layer to work. So first things first, knock these buds off, because that's going to be the very bottom of the trunk. I'm going to grab a tool here. So I got this on, I think I got it on Amazon. I might have gotten it some other advertisement. I don't know. I've seen them advertised quite a few different places. I'll look on Amazon and make sure that you can get them on there, and then I'll put that in my wish list. So if you guys don't know already, I have an Amazon wish list. You go through into the description of my videos, and right under the description it says Amazon wish list. Click on that, and then you can go shopping. Anything you buy from my wish list helps me out. Anything you buy from Amazon helps me out. So as long as you're going through my link, it helps me out. So really appreciate that if y'all could do that for me. So I'm going to take my utility knife here, and I am not an expert on this air layering thing, but what I do know I will share with you guys. So basically the tree gives nutrients to the foliage through the roots, right? So it collects the moisture and the food from the roots, and it sends it up the middle of the tree through the I can't remember what layer that is. Maybe I'll look that up, and I'll put it right down here to where you guys can read that. So it goes through the middle of the tree, goes out to the leaves. The leaves collect photosynthesis, or the sunlight, through photosynthesis. It goes down the outside of the tree, the bark, through the cambium layer, which would, if you scratched your tree, it'd be the green layer. So it goes on the outside, inside, outside. Oh, that's awesome. Let's shut off my notifications. Bada bing. Okay, so it goes up through the middle, out through the outside. So as it's going up, it's feeding the tree, and then as it's trying to go back down, it hits here, and then it creates roots. So that's how this stays alive while it's creating roots. This part of the tree gets the water up, gets the water down. So right here is the section where it's going to pop roots out. From what I understand, a lot of trees are going to put out their roots right at a node. So this is a node right here. So you've got a node here, you've got a node here, you've got a node here, here. This one's really easy to see where the nodes are, and I broke my other light, so I can't add more light to this, but I think you can see that pretty well. So each spot is a node, right? And branches grow from a node, right? The leaves grow from nodes. So nodes are very important. That's where life comes from. So when we're talking about air layering, I'm having trouble talking today. Air layering. When we're talking about air layering a tree, we're wanting to bring the roots out of here, right? So I'm going to cut right at that line. I'm going to cut right on it all the way around. I'm going to be really careful not to cut above it, but I'm going to cut right under that line so that the roots will come right out of the bottom of that. Now I'm going to cut all the way down to this line. Actually, I might cut just past it, because the space from here to here has to be wide enough so that the bark doesn't bridge the gap. If the bark bridges the gap, your air layer fails. The Tree might stay alive. You might be able to try it again, but that air layer will fail. It won't produce roots. So I'm gonna take my time here and get this knife sharper. Because my knife is dull. I use this thing a lot, and it gets rusty because it's Florida. So give me just a second. I'm gonna sharpen it with one of my. I got these new files. They're diamond files. I got them on Temu. Seem to work pretty well. They're not super high dollar or anything like that, but I mean, I'm sharpening a well, it's not stainless, but hardened metal. So I mean, it's working. Don't really need super expensive tools. Just make sure what you get works. And it's okay that the shavings are going into the tree. The tree will utilize that iron as it breaks down, turns to rust, and then the tree will be able to use it. I actually use old nails. I have a jar that I put water in, and I rust the nails. Once they start rusting, I use that rusty water as plant food. So it definitely works. Alright, so let's go up here. Let me see if I can get you guys in a little bit closer. And this might be dark because this is all really light and just behind the light. Sorry about that. I am going to be getting another light here pretty soon. Probably have another light before I do my next video because I'm sitting right here and I can't see it. So, but I am going to go right underneath, and I'm pushing hard enough to get all the way through the bark layers. And I'm going to bring you back a little bit because turning the tree is putting it out of your view. Wow. Okay. So, pushing hard enough to go all the way through the bark and being gentle enough not to slip and cut my finger off because I like my fingers. And I'm also going to go below, in between on this one, do kind of an experiment, I guess you could say. See where it produces roots better. Actually, I'm taking that off, so that wouldn't be a very good experiment. Never mind. I want to do as straight a line as I can. At this part, it's not as important. Right here, it's really important, I think, to get right underneath of that, because that's where I want the roots coming out of. All right, and then I'm going to put a slit from one end to the other, and then we're going to take the bark off. I'm going to try and do this without damaging some of the other branches. Some trees the bark comes right off, some trees it doesn't. This one seems to be doing pretty well. I've noticed that maples, the bark comes right off really easily. Like if you're working on junipers, some of those, it's really tough to get the bark off. Like trying to make gins and stuff, so trying to do an air layer, it's about as difficult to get the bark off. So I'm hoping this just peels right off. Kind of helping it a little bit around where the little sprouts were coming out the side of the tree there. Alright, so I got the bark off. All done with that. For now, I'll go in the compost. We'll use it later. Alright, now this is one part that I didn't do very well on one of the last trees I did, and it took a long time to get roots. Okay, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to use my knife. I'm not going to touch up here because that's good. That's all the way through. but I'm going to scrape. I'm going to scrape this all the way around to where I see really light color, white, or like a really light cream color. So I'm going to make sure that there's no green, basically, is what I'm getting at. It kind of turns to a cream color as the... And this tree is like going out of the picture, into the picture, out of the picture. Okay, we're good now. Okay, so basically it turns to a cream color, and it actually feels really dry underneath of the green part here. The green could potentially encourage this bark to callus instead of root. So I'm going to scratch all that off. Alright, so there we go. And now this part feels dry to the touch, which is actually kind of interesting that the inside of a tree feels dry. Okay, so next I totally forgot to set up my sphagnum moss. I'm going to use sphagnum moss. I'm not going to use dirt. You can use dirt. I don't keep a lot of dirt. I keep a lot of bonsai soil. So, all right. So I'm going to go get some sphagnum moss. Be right back. All right. So I got my moss. I get this at Lowe's or Home Depot. Get this online too. I think you can actually get the same bag on Amazon. I can put that in the description for the Amazon wish list as well. Wow. It has been a long day. My mouth is not working. Oh man. I think after this I'm going to take the rest of the day off, because it's about time for the end of the day anyway. So how's that sound, right? Alright, so we're going to soak the moss in the water. It's just regular water. And sphagnum moss is what I use because sphagnum moss, and I call it sphagnum. I don't know if that's exactly the pronunciation, sphagnum or whatever. It says orchid moss. It doesn't even say the actual name on here. So, yes, you can't even determine your own pronunciation by reading it. So you can look it up, I guess. Anyway, it has rooting hormones in the moss. I used to watch a guy on YouTube that used to grow his trees in sphagnum moss. He would take like cool rocks that had cutouts and whatnot, or like actual bonsai pots, and that was his soil, was sphagnum moss. He would pull it out all sopping wet like this and put it around the roots of the tree and all that, and throw it in the tree. Jam it in there really good, and every time he repotted a tree, man, they were so cool. I mean, the trees looked really good. The roots looked amazing. I don't know, something maybe you want to try, but anyway. Okay, so next step. Now that this is soaked for a little bit, and I've talked way too much, we're going to take the moss, and in this stuff there is like roots, because they collect this stuff from the wild. I think they wash it. I think they clean it. I'm not 100% sure. I have heard some things about being able to get bugs and stuff from the moss. So, I mean, kind of be careful with that. I always let mine dry out completely before I use it. I open the bag a little bit, let it dry out completely. So I don't know if that helps anything or not, but it's something I do. But anyway, just pull the roots out, because get some really interesting stuff in there. So we just want the moss portion of it. I'm going to leave it like sopping wet and put it in. I'm going to work it in there to where it's kind of packed in there nice and tight, to where when I put it on the tree, it gives it a good surface of touching the bark or touching the trunk of the tree. I want it to be like pushed against it. So I'm going to overdo it so that it's nice and firm in there. And I'm going to do it on, put it in both sides. I'll squeeze the water out, I guess, because I can add more water once I put it on the tree. So I'll squeeze it in there really nice and tight. You guys can't see what I'm doing. All right, there we go. So pushing the moss in here, squeezing it in there, really nice and tight. Getting it in both sides. Right, so you can see it sticking up. Like I said, I'm going to overdo it a little bit. Get a little bit. So it's like that. Nice and thick in there. Now these have different sized ends. This end is larger than this end. The larger end goes up so you can fill that with water. Alright, so now the next part, I get to show off my cool little container here. I got this at a place called Gypsy Beach. It's a perfume container. It gets sticky because I put the rooting hormone in here. So I put some rooting hormone in here. It's the gel kind or the liquid kind. So now I'm going to take my paintbrush. I'm going to come up here to the tree. And I'm going to set the camera down so it doesn't wobble all over the place. There we go. And now I'm going to paint the whole thing around here with the rooting hormone. Get it all nice up in there. Like I'm going to paint it upwards into the bark there. And get just a little bit more on here. I want it to be really good. Sometimes I wonder if I scratch this part, if that would help it root, or if it just roots because the bottom is open here. So I'm not sure, and I don't think you need to paint all this, just trying to get the rest off the paintbrush so that it's not all sticky with rooting hormone. Okay, so I put the top back on. I just kind of let it sit in there because otherwise it gets stuck like it did earlier. Alright, so now we're going to take our, I don't even know what they call these things. I don't know what they call these things. Propagation orb or whatever. And we're going to figure out a way to put it on here that it's not going to damage the rest of the tree or get in the way of the rest of the tree. Make sure that it's centered. Move it up just a little bit so I'm not grabbing this branch. Alright, and then we squeeze it, close it like that. Some of them, they have like a band that you have to put around it, or like a zip tie or whatever, but this one has a latch on it. So I think that'll work. It's not, I don't think it's going to damage this branch too much. If it starts to look like that branch is having any kind of issues, I will move this around. Okay, so yeah, all done, right? All done. Now we just wait. Now we just wait and water the tree through here. Make sure this stays moist. I don't think that it needs to stay saturated or sopping wet. Just keep it moist, because if it's too wet, that'll cause the inside of there to start rotting, and that's not what we want. We want roots, so we want it moist, like you've put a cutting in a propagation bed. However moist you keep that, that's how moist you want to keep this. All right, so the next thing, I am going to take care of this branch while I have the tree in the workshop. Now, I could leave this branch and take this branch off, but this branch is already leafing and that one's not. And I do kind of want the branch to be more horizontal. So I'm going to take the top branch off here. I'm going to get it in as close as I can right there. And voila. And I'm going to try and root this. I'm going to put it into one of my rooting beds. I will put some of the rooting hormone on it. There we go. So that'll go in my propagation bed. And I think this is going to be done for today. Because I don't think there's much more that I can really do to it right now. The branches look pretty decent. right this minute. The only other one I can see is this one. It had a piece here and it broke off or got cut off. So I'm going to trim that back. And I'm going to trim this top piece off. I'm going to leave this one to grow. But I think that's it. I'm hoping that this one really grows out this year. I'm actually hoping that a lot of these grow out too, so that we can have more opportunities for branches and get a really nice canopy going. So yeah, kind of a short video. Hopefully it was at least entertaining, if not informational. Oh, hey, check this out. We got a little, I don't know if you can even see that. Yeah, you can see that. A little caterpillar. Yeah, you gotta go, bro. See ya. I thought it was a little branch on here, so it's always good to look at your trees, isn't it? Make sure that caterpillars aren't eating your brand new leaves before you get new leaves, because then you don't get new leaves. That's not good. Okay, so I think I'm going to end it here. I really appreciate you guys watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And see you on the next one.